Hello everyone, I'm back. I'm in the same sweater again. I love this sweater. There's cats on it. Of course I love it. Today's card it's a little bit of a different one. It's definitely not one that you would send through the mail because it ends up being super thick. But it uses a die set from Simon Says Stamp that when it came out, I loved it. It's very similar to a card that I made years ago that I did like a custom design for, and I showed it here on my YouTube channel. But these dies make it a whole lot easier, I think. So we're gonna jump right into it. So these are the Mary on a Line dies. I'm going to separate them with my wire cutters, and so I can use each of them individually. So these dies are really interesting in that you need to space out how you're going to be cutting them before you put them through your die cutting machine. So I'm going to have the M line be about 3/4 of an inch away from the edge of this 5x7 piece of paper. I'm going to put that down or hold it down with a little bit of washi tape and then run that through my die cutting machine. And once I have this very first piece cut, then I can use it to position the next piece, which would be the E die. So I'm going to place that right there just so I have an idea of where it's going to be. And I'm going to line up the die right next to the M. This is going to give me the correct positioning. I'm also using the grid on my grid mat. I have my paper on there completely straight, if you notice. I'm making sure that that vertical line of the die is lined up at the same position on the top and bottom. This is going to help me get a very perfect cut. So I'm just going to have that right there. And once again, I will be holding it in place with a little bit of washi tape. And I'm really taking my time to get the positioning just right. This is going to make it so that my finished card looks a little bit more precise when everything is said and done. I'll run that through my die cutting machine. And then now I have the second piece. So you can kind of see how the M layers right on top of the E, and that's how it will proceed going on with all of the letters. I'm now just taking that second piece that I cut, using that to help position my third die cut. So this is the letter R on a line. And since the word Mary has 2 R's in it, this die set only has 1 R to cut, but you'll just cut it twice. So I cut both R's, and then now I'm lining up that Y in the same way and cutting that out. So when I stack all of these all together, I now have the word Mary going all the way across. It's kind of a fun idea, very different, and I think it looks really, really neat. So I'm going to be putting these on top of some 5x7 cardstock for now. I'll be cutting it down later, but I want to accentuate the different layers. So I'm going to be using some ink blending on each layer. This first layer is the M1, and I'm using Festive Berries Distress Oxide ink and a blender tool from Honeybee. Just blending that on. For the letter E, I used Chip Sapphire Distress Oxide ink, followed by Evergreen Bough, nice green shade, and then Peeled Paint. And then I'll be finishing with Spun Sugar, nice pale pink. So once all of these are stacked together after they've been blended, then you see a really nice kind of variation in color, and it accentuates each one of those letters. So I wanted to have a little bit of texture on the white piece on the very back. So I'm going to use the Diamond Poinsettias die embossing folders, and I'm going to run this through with some watercolor paper. I've misted the watercolor paper with just a tiny bit of water, and then I'm running it through the Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine. And in this particular sandwich, in this machine, you just have that embossing folder, the 3D embossing folder, replace one of the clear plates, and then you can just run it through as usual. Now, when I misted my watercolor paper to soften it a little bit, it was still a little bit moist, so I hit that with my heat tool to make sure it was dry, and then I assembled everything all together. So the way I pieced all these together is I put some foam adhesive on the back of each one of these pieces and then stuck them together. Now this means that my finished card will be very, very thick. It's going to be very substantial once everything is finished. But I thought, you know what? When am I ever going to have a chance to make a card like this again? Let's just go ahead and do it. And then when I drop off gifts on porches or, send them in the mail to people, I can just include this card. It doesn't have to be mailed in the traditional sense in just an envelope. So on the little tiny bitty pieces of the letters, I used some thin foam strips from Darice, and then I used my regular foam tape for the majority of these pieces. And after I had them all together, then I used a craft knife and a ruler just to trim off these pieces. And I just did very, very light pressure on my knife and went over this line over and over again until everything was cut. So I did that for that left edge, and then also when it comes to the top and bottom of this as well, because I at this point decided that I wanted to make it an A2 size card. So it was going from 7 inches tall down to 5.5 inches tall. So I had quite a bit of a length to cut off. I trimmed down my embossed piece for my card front, and then I put some foam adhesive on the back of the Mary, and then place that down onto my embossed watercolor paper. So you can see how thick that is. To finish off the card, I'm creating the card base out of some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock, and I've just cut and folded that to be a finished card size of 5.5 tall by 4.25 wide. I'm going to add a second line, just another gridding at the bottom. I'm using the typed Christmas stamp set from Hello Bluebird, and I've prepped some pitch black Hero Arts cardstock. It's the same cardstock I used in the day 4 video. And I've prepped that with an anti-static pattern tool, stamped my greeting, and then sprinkled on some alabaster embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. Like I did in that previous video, I just cut off the end, trimmed it down, and put some very thin foam adhesive behind this greeting strip. I'm going to put this right below the word Mary, and I'm just going to let it adhere to all those steps going down. I think you could definitely leave the card like this, but I decided that I wanted to add a little bit of details up above the word Mary. So I grabbed the Frosty Flakes die set from Hello Bluebird, ran that through my die cutting machine for some white snowflakes, and then adhered that to my card. And I wanted to have this snowflake here look like it was coming out from underneath one of the layers. So I cut off a little bit of that snowflake, and as I adhere it onto my card, I'll just slide it underneath that edge. I used some Gina K Designs Connect glue to adhere the snowflakes and just press them down directly onto the front of my card. So that is the finished card for today. I think just those additional details of the snowflakes just finish off the card design. This is a very thick card, but I think kind of worth it. It's pretty special. Okay, this card is like monster thick. This is like, it stands up on its own without needing the back of the card like a tent. It's so thick it stands up on its own. It's got its own legs. But it's substantial, and I love the dimension. I just adore how that turned out. It's definitely not a card that I will repeat and duplicate, but it's still really, really fun. And I guess I really could mail this one, put it in a padded envelope or something, because it turned out really, really cool. On screen, I have 3 more videos for you to check out. These are all day 5 videos from previous years of the holiday card series. So if you want to check out those, go ahead and click on screen now. Or if you want to see every single day 5 video from the holiday card series going all the way back to 2009, I'll have those listed down below in the video description. I'll see you guys on Friday for a live day 6 of the holiday card series. It starts at noon Mountain Time. See you then.